We've recently picked up She-Hulk as our first Series 4 cards. I've been loving playing around with her. I think she's an awesome card, and we've got a deck today which shows her strength and kind of blends in with a few different cards which do really well with her. So stay tuned. Let's go. Hey, Milky here, back again with another one. Today we got a She-Hulk deck, which I'm super excited to show you. It's a little bit different. It's a change of pace and some of the other things that we've been seeing out there at the moment from She-Hulk. But for me, it's been something that's been consistent. It's been really enjoyable to play. It's got a few win conditions in the deck and multiple different play lines that you can choose and play around with. So I find it really exciting for sure. Let's not muck around. Let's go ahead and jump into the deck breakdown and look at some of the cards that I've included in my list. Alright, so here we have it, and a quick look at some of the cards in this list. First up, we've got Sunspot and Nightcrawler and Angela. Solid cards to build out the early game, and it's important to have these cards in the deck, or at least some early game cards in the deck, because you're looking to free up hand space for Moon Girl. If you are going to go down the Moon Girl duplicating your hand track, you do need to free up some hand space early, and I think these are some really solid cards to fill out that early game. We've also got Scarlet Witch in our deck, and I've just found the ability to flip locations, especially cheaply, works in favor of this deck. Look, it is a random flip for sure with Scarlet Witch, but I've really liked her inclusion in this deck. I think she adds a bit. There's locations which can negatively affect this deck, and I just like having the flexibility of having her on turn 2 or other turns in the game within this deck for sure. So next up in our deck, we have all of our 4-cost cards, and we've got Jubilee in our deck to draw into some of our top end if we need it. I just like that, the kind of place that she fits in this deck. I think she does quite well when there's lots of, strong cards that you can roll into with Jubilee, so we've got her in there for that. We've also got Moon Girl, and Moon Girl's prime targets in this deck are definitely going to be She-Hulk. If you can duplicate She-Hulk in your early on in your hand and get 2 She-Hulks, you can have some really strong lines of play towards the final turns of the game for sure. The other 4-cost that we have in this deck is Dracula, and Dracula has become a real flavor pick for me in this deck, which I really, really like, because it gives you some flexibility around the final turns. One play line that I've found, which has been really, really fun and successful for me, is playing Moon Girl to duplicate a She-Hulk, towards the front of your hand, having 2 She-Hulks in your hand on turn 4, skipping turn 5, and then playing Dracula and 2 She-Hulks on turn 6. If you've got other cards that you can, discard in your hand which have some high power, this can be a massive final turn play, which can be a little bit different to the Infinite line of play. I just found it works really well, and I really enjoy playing Dracula in this deck. If you are looking to up the consistency of that turn 4 play, you could potentially sub out Dracula for some other strong 4-cost cards with a bit more power as a base. But for me, I really like the way Dracula kind of plays in this deck. You could also potentially sub out Dracula for a 5-cost card, which you could play with a single She-Hulk on turn 6 after skipping turn 5. There's lots of different play lines and different cards you could potentially include in this spot. Dracula has been the one that I've enjoyed the most. Another card which has really fallen off in a lot of decks, but I really like the inclusion of Iron Man here. I think with some locations that provide additional power to cards that are there at the moment, just the flexibility of having Iron Man potentially even rolled in from Jubilee. Iron Man's really like a card that discourages opponents from playing in there because of the potential that he has. Or, on the other hand, he can be a big surprising power push late on in the game. I really like Iron Man here. I'm keen to see how he does. I think he does really well in my testing so far. But yeah, I really like Iron Man for sure. At a 5-cost, we have Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel doesn't always make her way into this deck for me, but I like her flexibility that she has in terms of potential to move to closed off locations at the end of the game. I think she's a decent target to roll into from Jubilee. She provides a little bit of uncertainty for your opponent as well, where they have to try and think and play around it. I really like Captain Marvel, and she's done really well for me as well. Also, at a 5-cost, we have the combo pieces, and these are like the main combo pieces of the deck, being Magic, and ideally you want to be playing Magic on turn 5, where you'll change the game to having 7 turns with Limbo. You then skip turn 6, and on turn 7, you can play a massive turn with She-Hulk, the Infinite, on the final turns of the game, where you play out these 30 power across the board. You have multiple locations to play into. It can be really hard to counter, especially because you've probably given up initiative by that point, and Shang-Chi's become less valuable. I really like this line of play where you've got Magic on 5, She-Hulk, Infinite, turn 7 after skipping turn 6. Also, if you can get a Moon Girl in there, you can potentially get double the value there with 2 She-Hulks out. This deck has some really strong lines of play, but not only one win condition. I mean, the She-Hulk Infinite line of play is probably the strongest win condition if you can get the magic out and extend the game. But the other cards in the deck kind of suit it, and they do really well together in terms of offering additional ways to win the game and additional play around and flexibility with the locations as well. It's something that I've really enjoyed playing this deck, so we're going to go ahead and jump into some games. We're going to be playing at Infinite Rank against for the most part, Pool 3 full collections. So let's take a look and see how we go. So jumping into another one, Nidavellir, straight off the rip. We have Angela Nightcrawler again, so I'm gonna hold off, and we might play them together next turn. We don't have any of our key cards in hand, so this might be potentially a bit of a different looking game. We'll see. See how we go. So we got the Vault. Captain Marvel can do some stuff there. It's probably a Spectrum Destroyer deck, I'm assuming. Okay, so we want to get Dracula out now. Dracula now seems the best line of play. Could also just Jubilee, but I think Dracula's better here. Oh, we got an Atuma. That's very cool. Atuma deck. Okay. So we can win Nidavellir very easily with Iron Man. So do we want to do this? Unless he has an Iron Man. Iron Man might be our finisher. Captain Marvel into Iron Man. Seems pretty cool. This could be this still could be like a Spectrum deck with just with a tumor in it. So I think we want to keep the thing is, does he play Professor X here into the right lane? Look, I don't think so. We can do this and it can fly out. We don't have any great discard targets with Dracula at the moment, but he doesn't know that. That's the thing. He doesn't know that. Let's go ahead and do this. Professor X. So I think Iron Man's our play here, hey? Iron Man, hopefully we discard She-Hulk. Well, unless you can get in here. I feel pretty confident about this one. Spectrum? I think we beat Spectrum. Yeah, easily. Iron Man on Nidavellir is great play. We discarded the Moon Girl. Yeah. That was I think we just thought our way through that one. We lined up the Iron Man play early. That was going to be our line. We knew we wouldn't have an Enchantress or something playing so many ongoing cards, so yeah, it was a good one. Alright, we have Oscorp Tower straight off the bat, so let's go ahead and drop Sunspot. We're probably doing Angela next turn. Bar Sinister. So we can flip that, actually. I don't think Bar Sinister actually helps our deck all that much. I think I'm going to get rid of it just so he doesn't have any great play in there. Well, I mean, we could have Nightcrawler in there. Dark Dimension? Sure. Wow, that would have been a very solid line of play. But that's okay. We can You can do Angela Nightcrawler here and potentially get the ball rolling a bit. I like this. I like freeing up my hand for Moon Girl as well. Like Moon Girl next turn. Okay, that's fine. Cosmo. Okay, so... Is he gonna, like, lock this down or something? We kind of need to drill magic for this playline, but I think we're okay. Either way, we can potentially even She-Hulk, Dracula. That's kind of nasty too. And they drew into their Agent 13, so not a big roll for them. So if we skip, we can She-Hulk, Dracula, which I really actually like. I'm just wondering, do I move this at all? You're going to have 2 1-cost She-Hulk and 1 4-cost Dracula? That seems cool. So we go She-Hulk. I guess this is kind of the same as Infinite, but we get Dracula out, so... We have a really good... We have a kind of like 75% chance of hitting something half decent.
Opponent snapped.
Snapping. I like this. We'll see. We're kind of splitting the difference between all the lanes, but I think it gives us a decent chance to win, for sure. Leader. That's huge. That is a huge leader. But we do win with the Dracula. That leader was so nasty. If we would have hit Dracula, we would have lost that. If he would have hit something bigger from his hand, we would have lost that. But I mean, we had a 75% chance of hitting something good on our side. That was a crazy end to the game. All right, kicking this out with... All right, kicking into game 1, we have Fist Tower straight off the bat. So we have the Angela Nightcrawler combo, so I'm going to go ahead and hold off. Magic in hand is always handy. Unfortunate with the icebox there. I think holding off now is just a little bit too... Like, we do get the value still with Angela, but I feel like we're going to draw a turn 4 play anyways, so we'll just get Nightcrawler out. You got the super flow. It's probably, with Luke Cage, we want to go as minimal cards out on the board as we can, I think. I think that's the route we're going to be going down. Double Captain Marvel seems interesting. So we're going to fill up our hand here, so we won't draw next turn. Two Captain Marvels might just be a cheeky play here. I think we'll do this. The final turn might also just be Captain Marvel. We'll have to have a think about this one. It's fantastic. Okay. So I don't think Dracula is a good call here, but
Locked.
so Captain Marvel doesn't take into consideration Fist Tower. I'll go with this. Actually, maybe the Dracula would have been a great little counter to this. Because his power is going to change, right? With the Dracula. Okay, so we get the retreat. I think he probably didn't draw his Hazmat. I'm assuming that's what it was. He didn't draw Hazmat. Captain Marvels could have made it awkward. They could have like both flown over to the Superflow. I think we were going to Dracula in the middle here. Potentially over into right lane. Could have been an awkward one for him. Okay. Kiln for this one. I like Sunspot and Kiln. Usually feels like a decent line of play. Okay, and the Hood. So, Hood's actually played in lots of different stuff at the moment. Okay, that's a little unfortunate for him. That is a little unfortunate for him. Might want to... I think we just Angela into Wakanda here. Go ahead and continue on our merry way. We have the... Yeah, magic if we draw into some of the other cards. That's cool. Nova and Demon, so I guess he's not playing Killmonger. So our Sunspot should be pretty safe here, actually. For the most part. No play here. Let's go ahead and skip. Deathlock, sure. Captain Marvel can get us into the Kiln later on. Something to think about. So we have a 3-cost She-Hulk. Dracula, Moon Girl. Jubilee or Moon Girl. I think just She-Hulk here is pretty good, hey? Do we need to? Is Captain Marvel going to win us that lane? Let's go ahead and do this. Might be a bit wasteful. It means we might not need to play the Captain Marvel later on, though. Okay, question is, does our deck need magic this game? Do we need magic this game? Otherwise, what are we doing? We're doing like Iron Man, Nightcrawler, Captain Marvel? That also seems pretty decent, to be honest. Do we Captain Marvel this turn then? I mean, I don't think we need magic, actually, this game. Okay, so final turn, he's got Death, right? But Death, he hasn't destroyed enough stuff. He hasn't destroyed anything. So, since he got Destroyer? Destroyer does beat us. Hey? But Destroyer loses in right lane, and Captain Marvel can fly over there. What else does he have here? I don't know. I think this is the play. We'll just go for this. Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
20. She-Hulk. Arrow. Woo! That was a close one. She-Hulk Arrow.
Victory.
Solid play on the final turn. That's going to be a nasty combo. She-Hulk and Arrow when you skip. But yeah, we got it out. We got out the win there. The other play line I was going to do was just play Iron Man here. And then Captain Marvel could move over for 12. But I really didn't know what he was going to be playing. All right, that's it for the gameplay. As you can see, there's so many different win conditions with this deck, different play lines you can choose. You'll often find yourself saying, oh, was that the most optimal play? But with this deck, I love the intricacies of the deck and how it can play out in different ways. And I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay that we had to showcase. All right, that's going to wrap us up for this one. Really hope you enjoyed. I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoyed this one. It really helps us out for sure. That's it from me. Thanks again so much for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you then.